I called you and I said, I just got out of yoga class and I decided I don't want you to date anyone else.
But you're like, but you can, but I just don't want you to.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not dating anyone. Like, I've always said that if it wasn't you, it was nobody.
Which is so crazy.
Such a huge connection. I think when you have that kind of emotional connection with someone, you can't go backwards. Like, it's just impossible to go backwards. I had met people in that time, but it just wasn't the same connection for sure.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you guys have no idea how long I have been waiting to put out this episode. Like, take a deep breath with me. I am sharing a podcast of not just my voice and my story, but my beautiful girlfriend's voice and her story, which is our story, our love story. Well, the beginning part of our love story. Actually, before the love even begins, more like the how we met story, which is a pretty long story because this has been a love story a long time in the making. And this is what happens when you live worlds away from each other and you chase love even when the rest of the world is like, oh, it's not very convenient. I don't know about you, but as a lesbian, I haven't found love in my own backyard. In fact, I've only found toxicity and trauma, and I found the one. I found peace and love, and everyone said when you fall in love with the right one, you know, and God, you guys have seen me go through the ringer, and I pray that this episode stands the test of time and our love ages like fine wine, and that I could feel this loved and to love loving her and to feel this peaceful and to give her so much peace forever, because that's all I want. I feel like being with this woman has shifted my energy so much, and I'm so grateful. And she's taught me so much about myself and what I have deserved, and that I wasn't crazy for always wanting more and always believing that more was out there. And I want to encourage you as you listen to our How We Met story today, and any podcast episodes that I bring my beautiful inside and out girlfriend on, that you know it's possible for you too. I know that I used to listen to a lot of couples podcasts and feel so grateful that I had an example of what's possible for me, and it really helped me manifest the love I have in my life in this present moment. And it took those past moments and seeing evidence that it was possible for me to get to where I am today. And I truly believe, and I know my beautiful girl truly believes, that we manifested each other, that it was inevitable for us to find each other, just like it was inevitable for us to find success in life in many other ways, because we have the belief. We thanked God in advance for each other, whatever you want to call it, universe, source, all the things. And we took action. We didn't just wait for it to come to us. We put ourselves out there in the world. You guys have seen my Dear Future Wife videos, and you know that I've been out there searching for the one. And when you put yourself out there and you become the one, you will end up finding the one. So this podcast episode, I hope you enjoy it. It's a lot about my past and what it took for us to, like that Celine Dion song, right in front of you, right in front of me. That's how I feel this was, because we were right in front of each other for a while, and it happened in God's perfect timing. But this podcast episode, we were literally just cuddling together and had just woken up in the morning, and I always go make her a little chocolate element heat up our little morning salt drink, and we go brush our teeth so we can cuddle and kiss each other. And we were just having our little element and talking about how incredible it was and what a miracle it was that we met, but a miracle that we understand how we came into each other's lives and how we're grateful for it. And even though it seems so complex, how inevitable it was, because we're always a part of each other's divine plan. And we're just smiling and laughing and talking about it. And I said, can I take out my phone? Like, are you ready to talk about this? And my girl is very, very, very private for a lot of good reasons, to protect her name, to protect her companies, to protect her employees, all the things. So I don't know if we'll ever share certain details, and I hope that you all respect that. But we are sharing as much as we feel comfortable to do. And we didn't think it was the right time to share anything until now. She's very, very spiritual and very much believes in manifestation and being co-creators with the divine to create our reality. And we think it is important that we share not only our how we met story, but continue to share our love story, how we manage conflict, the things we learn throughout our relationship, and share the journey of eventually U-hauling and building a life together, and all of the magic and realness that comes with building a relationship founded on mutual values. Which, if you know me, that's important. I literally created a lesbian dating platform to find relationships built on mutual values. And if you haven't heard of it, it's called Queer Country Club. But this is not an ad for that. This is literally us just sharing what I'm so grateful for, what exists in my life, and that it's possible for you. Okay, so without further ado, enjoy our love, our meeting story, as we share in our morning voices. Sapphics and allies, you're listening to Queer Women Rising. That's women with an X, because we are inclusive here. When we hear the stories of queer women who have gone before us, we see evidence that there's nothing we can't do. And yes, we can too. It's time for you to level up in life, in love, and step into your most authentic, abundant reality. You won't be the same after this episode. It's your turn to let go of good for greatness. Your best life is now loading. Let's rise. Let's rise.
Let's rise.
Let's rise.
Let's rise.
Let's
rise.
Let's rise. We're doing it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, so wake up, voice and all. This is me and my girlfriend in bed, waking up, talking about how we met, and I want to share a story. Just like you're doing it, don't be shy.
No, I know. Then ask what.
Okay, so I think the first thing that we were talking about was, how did we actually meet? Because there will be people trying to piece together this story, and I'm recording this in August, but there will be people trying to piece back like where I first mentioned you, because I've been publicly dating since I think May, like talking about going dating in Europe and stuff. So yeah, before May was like my healing, all that. So yeah, right. Do you want to share how we actually met? Because
Yeah.
it's gonna be a scandalous story.
We actually started talking in September of last year professionally, because
Strictly.
I was, yeah, absolutely. I was in one of my companies. I was looking for I was directed by someone in social media, and I think especially TikTok, because TikTok was kind of like the unknown in my business for sure. There's no way to figure out how to get into it. It's not really a popular thing in the niche that I'm in. So I remember having a meeting with a TikTok company that they did that, and they said you need to find influencers, you need to do all this, and they're like, we could do this for you, but you guys could do this yourself. So Liz, who works for me and deals with all of my technology and everything, that was her job to do. And one day she sent me an email, and it had Sophia had all of your information on it, and it said,
may I say Liz is also a lesbian? So,
yeah, Liz is a lesbian.
Maybe I came up in her algorithm.
Yeah, likely, for sure. Likely.
If you're listening to this podcast and you've never listened before, I am a social media strategist, and I've been doing this for 10 years. And I have a dating platform. So those are the two things that I do. But I'm mostly known for being a social media strategist before the dating platform existed. So, okay, go ahead.
So yeah, Liz is a lesbian. She probably... and I'm sure she's on TikTok and Instagram, and I'm not often.
Yeah, you literally don't exist on the internet.
No,
you can't go find her, guys.
I sometimes often forget to check socials in a day, or even some 3 days could go by. So I'm not really aware of that stuff, but she is. So she sent it saying that I think that we should contact her. I looked at her. I didn't look at a profile. It was like a business page that Liz had sent me.
Oh, you must have looked at, I used to do an old TikTok business page. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
That was it,
Yeah, maybe. And then I saw PPB, your Profitable Personal Brand. And
life coaching program.
Yeah. And I had thought that I saw that maybe you do a VIP coaching thing, and maybe it might be a fit for that. I didn't know.
So I got my first email from you.
Yeah, so I emailed about work, about that. I shared my website.
But at this point, I'm literally thinking I'm going to marry somebody else.
Yeah, you were, and I didn't know that at the time of contacting you. I still hadn't looked at your socials. I didn't even know you were.
I was a lesbian.
I didn't even know you were a lesbian. No, exactly.
I looked at the professional.
I was just contacting someone that Liz, my person, told me is the best person for social media strategy. So I didn't care about your relationship status. I didn't.
It's so crazy.
It was not a thing.
It wasn't a thing for me either.
Yeah.
Even whenever I was doing not Dear Future Wife, I was doing other relationship posts, putting other lesbians out there, and I wouldn't even open those emails unless my ex-girlfriend was around, just to be honorable.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is I think it'd be hard to believe too if I was listening to this, but nope, it was completely professional, ridiculously professional, because you didn't even know my relationship status. So
no.
You tell me about your business, and
I told you about my business. I gave you my website, told you about my professional history, who I was, and what I was aiming to do. And then
I was really honest with you.
Yeah, you left it, and then you sent me a nice email explaining, you had looked through my website and you had thought all these things, exactly what the social media strategy. Yeah, exactly, a website audit. All that stuff, thought what you should do, and you're like, let's book a VIP call, and all that stuff, go onto the calendar, do that, and then let's chat. Looking forward to talking to you. Completely professional response.
You never booked the call.
So then my website and that company, just everything kind of just was slowing down with development and stuff. So social media, everything was put on the back burner. I think that's what happened. Yeah, it was put I was I don't need to do this at this point, because then that's when we decided to bring AI into the company, to implement that in. So it was it was going to change the whole.
So you had to stop everything.
It was changing the entire interface of my website. So socials was definitely put on the back burner. So I'd left it.
And then you got an email.
And then I got an email.
Could I tell
like
you what
2 months later, yeah.
Okay, so I definitely talk about my relationships online. I make it very public when I'm dating someone, and it's so fun for me and for the internet. And then if I ever go through a breakup, it is not fun for me, but it's fun for the internet. And I created a marketing email to launch my masterclass called Finding the One. And I was so excited to create it because I felt like I was finally in a healthy relationship. And oh my gosh, I started working on this masterclass like a couple months in advance. But by the time it came out, I had realized how terrible it was, what I was in, and the toxic cycles. And something awful happened when we went on this little vacation. And I realized, like, that's it. Like, there's nothing that can like fix this. Like, yeah, something crossed the line, and I didn't want that type of behavior happening. So I decided, okay, we're broken up. And I put out content saying that I had broken up with the girlfriend. And one of those was a marketing email for the masterclass. And it was like, well, even though I haven't found the one, because I didn't want to strip the whole masterclass apart, I pretty much was like, even if I have it, like, I'm going to teach this. And I still believe that the one is out there. And so that went to everyone who was on my list. And you got that email?
Yeah, I got the email, and it said,
like, I broke up.
We broke up, and it was like, there was just like the header of the story or something like that. And I knew right away it was obviously a marketing type email. And in it, just as you said, it was that we broke up, blah, blah, blah.
But the story was
and
true.
And then it
sad.
was like into this masterclass and that whole thing. And then again, it triggered me like, okay, well, maybe now, like, that was a reminder I should get this started now. And I wrote back, and I had said, like, very briefly, I was like, so sorry to hear about your breakup.
Did you know it was with the girl?
I still did not know at that point that it was with a woman. I was like, just like,
stop.
Straight ahead, like, sorry to hear about your breakup.
Because you were like a lesbian.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry to hear about this. Oh, and I think, like, when I did go look at your website, like, you obviously that whole, like, you present really feminine, all that stuff, like, I wouldn't have thought that at all. Yeah, and again, I was just in, like, business brain. I wasn't even looking to date. I was actually deciding that I was just going to be single.
You've been celibate for years.
Yes, exactly. Like, other than the little glitch in time there, in that I had been celibate, I was just going to focus. In fact, my email to you was exactly that. I said, I'm sorry for your breakup, all that stuff, and that.
Sorry, I'm stuffy.
Yeah.
We're literally laying in bed.
Sorry for your breakup, and like, I'm just gonna focus on my one true love, and that's money. And
you're like, love sucks. I'm like, yeah.
And went into that. I think I had asked in that email if you thought that this thing was appropriate for what I was looking for. I didn't want to take a seat.
My coaching program.
Yeah, the coaching program. I didn't want to take a seat in it if it wasn't, and we're back to this.
After looking at what you do, my program wasn't appropriate because we would need to train your marketing team, because you're not running it yourself.
Right, yeah.
If you're running it yourself, or you were like closely overseeing your marketing team, it'd be different, because we could have put one of your key marketing people in with you, but you're so far removed from that. So I was honest with her and was like, this is not the program for you. Like, you could put one of your employees in, or you need to do VIP, where I can, like, have a meeting with your team and shape this for them.
Exactly.
So from there, I'd broken up. At this point, that email was maybe a month. I just want to interrupt, as my editor sent me back the episode, and I'm listening now a couple days later. I need you guys to realize, as I'm telling this story, that I forgot to mention that as we're emailing each other, I've never seen a picture of my girlfriend ever at this point. Like, I had been emailing someone that I never visualized I had no idea she was a lesbian. And when I went to audit her website, it's for a corporate company. So there was no like personal brand bio section with a photo of her, anything like that. So as far as I'm concerned, based on the name, I am making the assumption I am speaking to a straight woman, and I have no idea what she's looking like. She started talking about God and consoling me about my recent heartbreak. And she tells me that she empathizes with me because dating women is really hard. And that's when I connect the dots that she's not, at the very least, exclusively straight if she has experience dating women. And the only, like I say in this episode, at some point, the only reason she knew I was a lesbian was because I had sent a marketing email out to everyone on my list that was like sharing about my past breakup. So in that moment, she connected that I was a lesbian, and until she started talking about God and the prayer thing and the consoling about my breakup, like dating women's hard, yeah. I was like, well, how would you know, right? So, okay, just had to plug that in there. Yeah, I'd broken up. At this point, that email was what, maybe a month after
This
that.
was in October now.
Yeah.
This was in, I think, like October 4th.
Oh, God, I don't know. I
Or
don't
so
want to get
later.
exact
Yeah,
dates.
I don't know either.
But like, it was
later.
like much later. So we started, I don't know how we started talking. It was something about like, it was something about God. Like there was something in
I
the
had
email.
I had sent my email back to you about,
Like,
because then it
focus
was
on
like
money, God.
focus on money, yeah, all this stuff. And then I said, and like in the hard times, you know, I think of this prayer, and I think I even wrote down the prayer to you in the email. And it was like, you know, basically like, and it was just like, and also just like, God is my vindicator. Like, God knows what I've been through, and and knows that I'll get, you know, so much more out of it. So it's just like trying to quell your hurt, and just like generally, I didn't even know you, but I understand the premise of what happened, and God is obviously super important to me. So that's how I find peace, and typically when someone else is going through pain, it's how I would give advice, is to lean to God.
No, you're so nurturing. Like, I know you're so nurturing, so it all makes sense. Like, that's how you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that email came through, and then eventually I had one day where I just kind of had enough. And at this point, I was building my businesses to where I was going to get rid of my social media agency and lean into coaching. And I was just like tired. Like, I'll just be straight up. Like, I was doing a lot at one time. And one afternoon, I just kind of said, fuck it. Because you sent me this really great email. And I wanted to take time to intentionally respond. Okay, guys, another insert to the story. While I am excited to be corresponding with someone so smart and who shares the same values as me, I stop myself and I realize I don't want to build any false intimacy. And I request, hey, I've never seen a photo from you. Can you let me know who I'm talking to? I had no idea what the woman behind the keyboard looked like. And at this point, she emails me back 2 photos, and I'm like, shut the front door. I've been talking to a hot lesbian this whole time. What? Like, I was like, you know what? No matter what, we have all these shared values. Like, looks don't completely matter. Like, it at that point, I was willing to communicate with someone who may have not been my type, who may have not been the look, right, that I was imagining. And she sends me back a picture, 2 pictures, and I'm like, holy. I think I actually responded to that email and said, like, hold up, I've been talking to a hot lesbian this whole time. I need to take a pause. And I remember it took like 30 minutes. So our emails were almost like, at that point, like a direct message, because we were like spitfiring them back and forth. And at that point, I was like, oh no, we're graduating to some voice memos. Okay, back to the show. I wanted to take time to intentionally respond to it.
Yeah.
And so I think I even audio recorded because like the email was going back in paragraphs, like responding back to what you put in a different color. It was like this like long email. And then we just started voice memoing each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That one was great.
Okay, but it wasn't always this smooth of a love story. Oh no, it's so sad. Okay, so I obviously had just gotten out of something super toxic, but like sometimes when you're in toxic, you're just addicted to the toxic.
Yeah.
And like you knew that could happen. And
for sure.
Yeah, it was rough business. But anyway, I decided I was going to want to meet you and you wanted to meet me, and we decided to meet up in New Orleans. And we're not going to say anywhere where you're from, but like let's just say you had to come a long way. So
yes.
You fly into New Orleans. This is sometime, was this November or was this October?
This was December now.
Oh my God, we talked for that long.
Yeah, we talked daily.
Like hours.
All day, every day.
Hours. It was like so spiritual. It was deep. It was really deep. Okay, so was it beginning of December?
No, it's the middle.
Oh my God, we waited that long?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I was like, yeah.
I guess I didn't want to meet you while I was still like healing, but and I thought I had healed enough.
Yeah.
Had not healed enough. Oh, excuse me. We literally just woke up. We were talking about this. We're like, why don't we put a microphone here? Okay, so...
No, you were like, why don't you put a microphone here?
Yes. Okay. So we go to New Orleans, and I was so excited. Like, in my heart, I was like, I'm going to meet my future wife. Like, I felt so good about it. And you even had flowers delivered to my room. We both got separate rooms at the same hotel.
Yeah.
And you had flowers, and on the card, you put something really cute. What did you put?
I think it was something like to whatever is our highest good.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Just knowing and trying to take off the pressure of both of us. It was a lot. So the pressure was there that we both had
like these
future wife
feelings.
Thing. Yeah, that this had to be her and all that stuff. But
we have like the most intimate, special relationship. I can look at you and like know what you're thinking.
Yeah, vice versa. We share a brain. For sure. Yeah.
So it was just like all this excitement and pressure. I was nervous that like, I don't know, what if the attraction's not there? What if but our hearts are connected already, so this sucks because it had been like, what, 2 months
now, yeah.
Okay. So what is your... Oh, this is going to be horrible to have to talk about. We have to be real about it.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. I think
it didn't go as we planned.
We both felt the same way. Like there wasn't that spark. There wasn't everything that both of us wanted in person.
Yeah.
At a time, for sure. Like, yeah, no, definitely.
It was like really sad.
Yeah.
Like I wanted it so bad, but there was just, it was just no spark. And so because of that moment of no spark, which I don't know if it was because going to New Orleans made me miss my ex-girlfriend, or if it was because of just trying to go on that first date after a relationship makes you like miss someone, or like feel like, well, this is different or whatever. Like I can't pinpoint what it was.
Yeah.
But I know, like, seeing you, I was like, oh my God, she's fabulous. She's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, attraction wasn't, and when we say there's no spark, of course, you're beautiful, you're all that stuff. Like, it wasn't that. It was just energetically.
I couldn't tell if you're daddy or mommy energy.
Yeah.
And she's so, like, sweet, quiet little voice. But she's, like, so masculine on the inside. And I didn't know how to, like accept it because you were so feminine on the outside.
Right.
I don't know why. Like, it was just weird for me. Like, it was like, well, I don't get the energy.
Yeah.
Now I love the energy.
Yeah. And yeah, for sure. And your energy, and we know this now because we've talked about this lots, was like super spinning still from your past relationship.
Yeah.
You're not even the same person
No.
now. Like, your energy is softer and calmer.
Yeah.
I
was literally
you're
sick
not,
because of
you're not
what I went
spiraling like you were. It was so much energy then. So it was just not the right time.
through. No.
Not the right time.
So
And we left that day
crying. I was crying. You weren't crying.
I wasn't
was
crying. I just leave that stuff up to the universe. I'm just like, okay, universe, what's next?
I was sad.
Off I go. I
remember you leaving like a lip gloss in my room and me even throwing it away.
Yeah.
And like normally I'd have been like, that's a nice lip gloss, I'm keeping that. But I threw it. I was just sad. I was so sad. And we did do something kind of weird. So like we both like knew it wasn't going great, but I still wanted you to come sleep in my room because I was like, I've talked to you for a month and a half.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you just cuddle me? Like, can you just hug me? And we're interrupting this beautiful love story to help you create your own. That's right. This is an ad for my very own dating platform. Because as I was listening to this episode, to be quite frank, I'm like, why am I not plugging my own platform more? Because everyone deserves to find love as intentional as this. And dating women is hard. And dating the right woman, finding the right woman with aligned values is really challenging. And to be honest, I didn't meet my girlfriend on my own platform because my platform didn't exist yet. The Queer Country Club did not exist yet. And before I met her, and even before I met my other girlfriend, even actually like 3 or 4 years ago, I had a vision of creating a lesbian dating platform that was just different than what's out there. And if you know, queer dating apps are such a traka, as we say it in the South. Just so much trouble. If you're looking for a serious relationship and you're looking for love, it's hard to do it in a hookup world, and it's hard to do it on apps where women are just coming in and out looking for a quick hookup, might be still like confused about what they want. And you can rest assured when you come into the Queer Country Club, which is application based only. It's an application process. My team will approve you or not approve you. And then you would join the dating platform, and it makes it such a better experience because the women coming in are actually serious. Actually very serious about finding their future wife, finding true partnership. And it just keeps people, like the application and our minimal fee are like the way to keep women who aren't serious about finding life partnership, won't be intentional about dating, just keep them out the platform. I say this is a place for high value women because it's women who really know what they want and who they want, what they're looking for in a partner. Again, this is not for you. Do not come near the Queer Country Club, my lesbian dating platform, if you are identifying as a man, if you are looking for adding some spice to your polyamorous relationship. That is not what we are for. This is exclusively for women who love women, who are looking for their forever partner, who are looking for a monogamous relationship and have those values and are really ready to settle down and are tired of swiping through bullshit because they know it got them nowhere on traditional dating apps. So join the Queer Country Club, my very own dating platform, if you are serious about finding the one. And I created this, actually thought of the idea years ago, but I created it actively while I was in the friendship stage with my now girlfriend. Isn't that funny? I was like, well, I'm going to build this thing finally. Will I even need it? At the very end of it, I'm like, I won't even be able to go looking for my wife in there now. But it's really cool. It's filled with the most badass, intentional, radiant women from around the world. And if you have any questions about joining, please DM me on Instagram, the words future wife. If you are curious, you want to learn more, if you are ready to apply, DM me the word apply, and we will get you that application super quickly. I cannot wait to have you inside. Okay, that's it. Now back to the show. I've talked to you for a month and a half.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you just cuddle me? Like, can you just hug me? And we, like, literally didn't even kiss in that bed.
No.
It was just like a cuddle.
Yeah.
It was the most awkward thing. So we both were like, okay, this feels so weird. We know there's nothing here. We're just sad. It felt like a breakup cuddle.
Oh my God, totally. And then we had plans even that day and that night. And I remember because I contacted, I was in touch with my friends the whole time, of course, because they were like, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? And then my friend, you know who, I won't say her name on this, but one of my closest friends, I was like, I don't know that I can like do this whole evening now too. Like I've got, my energy just felt so depleted.
Yeah.
I mean, I had traveled very, very far as well, and it was a long day. It was literally coming to see you for under 30 hours.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, and I was like fighting with it, I remember, and I said I did just feel like it was the weirdest feeling, like I need to protect my energy.
Which is so weird.
And I said that to her.
I have like such a light. Like I'm not.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like no one's ever told me that before.
No.
And like honestly, that makes me feel like spiritually, like I was sick. I was so sick.
You were in a bad place for sure there.
Yeah.
So asking her, I just kind of needed the validation that was okay to do, because I'm typically someone who is a giver, doesn't have like super strong boundaries with people that I care about. So
and you did
I didn't
care
want,
about me, even though like
100%, like 100%, that never went away. I always cared about you. So I didn't want to hurt you or upset you or anything by saying that. But I remember when I said that you were kind of like, yeah, you know, that
I was
feel like you needed, exactly, like you needed that too.
I had plans for us to go to a concert that night. Yeah. So, yeah, I just went by myself.
Yeah, our energy just wasn't
meshing
at all. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And we know now why.
Like, that was, like, you're supposed to come to the concert at night. You didn't. No. So we never said bye. We never had, like, a real goodbye.
No.
And then
I flew out very first thing next morning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, someone that I look up to and trusted in my life had me over to their house. God bless her. If you're listening now, you know who you are. I still love you. I don't hold it against you. But she was like, I think you should give your ex-girlfriend a chance. Like, because she wanted, like, the recap of what happened in New Orleans. And then, like, I started crying. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I might miss her. But, you know, it'll never work out. Because I was treated very poorly, and I started explaining the things that had happened. And she's like, well, people change. I saw her, maybe whatever. So then she calls her. There's a reconnection. It was absolute chaos. After that one interaction in her house for the next 3 months. I mean, I can look back at the text. It's horrific. I was treated like literal poo. Yeah. For 3 months straight. And whether that's verbally, that's being texted, or that was just like interactions in real life, just horrible. And I'm not going to go into it, but I was really like, I had unfinished spiritual lessons to learn there, because I was not going anywhere until I learned them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have enough with a toxic person until you've had enough.
Yeah. No. Sure.
You got to date them till you hate them. It was horrible. And during that time, so when I got back, I really didn't want to talk to you, because I was like processing.
No, we weren't talking.
So there was like that day of the concert, then the next day driving home that I really didn't talk to you. Then like the day I reconnected with her, and in that moment you had texted something, and then I just like made it clear like we weren't going to keep talking. Like I made it clear that I think I'm going to get back with.
No, I was away with my family for Christmas vacation, and you and I were texting, and I said, have you thought of, because I had known, again, I'm intuitive of that whole sense too. And
but we hadn't,
and
like,
it wasn't
talked.
even about, no, we hadn't really even talked since
You're
then.
just, like,
but then we were like,
reconnecting.
hey, hope you're okay, that kind of text.
Yes, like the like pity, like sorry this didn't work out.
Hope everything's okay, all that stuff. And then because
of how I responded,
because of everything, I just I'd already known anyways that this, I think we know that about each other now. Like, you can't hide anything from me, and
No.
I can't hide anything from you, because we know each other that well, and I feel like that's our connection. And I knew that then. It was unspoken to me that you still had feelings for her, and I did believe that that's why that energy was so chaotic.
Yeah.
In New Orleans,
obviously anything attached to her was chaotic,
weird stuff. And I think, because I had known, like, after New Orleans, like, you had told me, I think, you're like, I went for drinks because we did talk that night of when I missed the concert.
Yeah.
And you're like, I went for drinks, and it was like at the hotel that you and your ex had stayed at before. Like, it was so obvious that
my heart
you were
was
like
broken.
looking for memories or something like that with her. So in that text with you, I was like, hey, have you ever thought of, like, contacting her again and reconnecting and, like, getting back together or trying? And then you're like, yeah, I've been thinking about it. And I was just supportive of that then. Like, I've always just wanted the best for you.
You're like, okay, just be careful.
Yeah, and just, like, no, like, people don't change, that kind of thing. I've been...
That really bad thing that happened is just going to happen again.
I've been in relationships like that, and it typically doesn't change when we're expecting the best out of someone. It doesn't. So I just wanted you to have your eyes open to it.
Safe.
But I do understand... I do understand that. I was always attracted to toxic relationships. To me, that was hot. That's what brought the spark. That's what brought the passion. So,
and I was like, didn't think that that's how it was, but that's so how it was.
Yeah, I was like, it makes sense that we didn't have that, because we were so healthy meeting each other, and like, I don't have that. I won't give that to you.
No.
Yeah. So of course you didn't think that this was hot, because there was no screaming, there was no abusive text. But there was nothing, okay. Like,
I don't want to.
No, of course. Like, it just wasn't, I'm not a toxic person, so that's why you didn't get that. It wasn't hot to you.
Literally, like, just thinking about it, my nervous system is, like, rattled.
Yeah.
So sorry, I didn't mean to be abrupt, like, I just don't want to.
Triggered.
I'm triggered. Okay, so if you're listening to this and you're like, what the heck, just know that you can start a relationship and it be literally your person, and nothing can stop it from happening, because I was not in a healthy place to start this thing, and it happened. But so at that point, I remember texting you and just being like, almost like giving a reason why I wasn't going to keep talking to you, like, without saying I'd gotten back together with her, but, like, setting the boundary, like, okay, like, we won't. I just didn't respond to something.
Yeah, I remember it was just like, it just fell off the face of the earth at our conversation. You didn't write, I didn't write, and we just went on our lives.
Yeah. And I know that there's going to be people who are like, you must have cheated on your girlfriend.
No.
Did not.
Absolutely not.
Never have, never will. That's just not how I roll.
Yeah.
I'm very, like, when I'm with someone, I'm obsessed with them, right? So, like, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just went off the face of the earth and stayed in a horribly toxic situation. It wasn't even a relationship. I couldn't even get, like, committed. What do you call it? Commitment. Couldn't get commitment. Although I would get commitment, and then it was never actually commitment. Little did I know. So anyway, okay, another insert. I feel like I could be inserting all day because the story is just so deep. But this, when I went back to the relationship, it was more toxic than ever. She would commit, but then things would be awful, and she wouldn't want her friends to know that we were seeing each other. I was treated absolutely horribly throughout that whole thing. And then something really, really bad would happen. And then I'd be like, I can't take this anymore. And I'd break up again. And then it would start up all over again. At one point, we really did have another like off period where I met one of my followers in Mexico. And we had the best time ever. Like, it was such a great trip. She was incredible. But I just didn't have that spark. But also, it was beyond not having a spark. It was like, I know that's not my future wife, even though she was amazing, just amazing human. But yeah, so then I'd go back. I'd be like, oh, I'm so upset, whatever. So after that one period, we get back together. I think it was like literally for a week. Like, we only had like 1 week together before like the ultimate breakup. Like, it had been a toxic cycle since probably August through that final breakup, and I can't even remember when it was, but it was bad. I want to say like March. Anyway, back to the story. Going through something, we'll just say horrific, with the ex-girlfriend, and I'm scared. Like, I'm really scared. And I had no one that I could call. My friends at this point were fed up with the drama.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
And my parents would have said, I told you so. They had told me never go back to her. The next time you go back to her, this awful thing's going to happen. And the awful thing happened. So I called you.
Yeah.
Because I knew, like, after this thing had happened, I knew there'd be no way I could ever go back. So I called you, and you were so comforting. You never said I told you so's. You calmed me down in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And we don't have to go into how crazy.
No.
So I was grateful for that. And then we stayed friends.
Yeah, we just were then reconnecting as friends again for a while.
Yeah.
And you said you were going to go do Eat, Pray, Gay, Love.
Yeah. Which was my adventure through Europe.
Yeah.
You were not hinting to come with me or anything.
Not at all.
Like, we were truly just friends.
Just friends.
And we were friends for a couple months. And then one day I was in yoga class. And I like had this, I don't know, I was like laying down. And I just had this thought come over my head. Like, if she starts dating someone else, wouldn't you be sad?
Yeah, I loved that when you told me that.
So I called you and I said, I just got out of yoga class and I decided I don't want you to date anyone else.
But you're like, but you can, but I just don't want you to.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not dating anyone. Like, I've always said that if it wasn't you, it was nobody.
Which is so crazy.
Like, such a huge connection. I think when you have that kind of emotional connection with someone, you can't go backwards. Like, it's just impossible to go backwards. I had met people in that time, but it just wasn't the same connection for sure.
No.
Mm-hmm. So I think from that moment on, we just, like, it picked right back up. And you had said, you know, that your energy was off in New Orleans because
I was still
of, like,
hung up.
obviously this, and like that's like wasn't the real,
wasn't the real
everything.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there is like social media me that's like a mile a minute, and then there's me in real life, which is still that person, just more calm. And then there was like Sophia coming off toxic relationship, looked like I'm like cracked out.
Yeah. So that was that version that I got in New Orleans.
Yeah,
was that one. I think that friendship time that we had showed me all of the things that I needed to see in you. Yeah. So that I didn't think that you were just this person that I saw in New Orleans, and the energy be that off and chaotic. So in that time of our friendship, I did see all the
you probably saw
the beautiful,
cracked out
soft,
for like 2 weeks. I was like sleeping at my parents. I was scared to sleep
for
in the
house. For the first 2 weeks, it was awful. Yeah, you were very scared.
Yeah, but you were so calming, so nurturing, so loving 24/7. And then something just clicked. I was like, I don't want her to date anyone else. This would bother me. And I was like, but the vibe has to be there in real life. So like, how are we going to make sure? And I had already won this lesbian festival ticket thing to go to Ibiza. And I'd already bought my ticket to Spain. And I wanted to go to the festival and like go as a single woman because I hadn't been a single lesbian at a lesbian event ever. So I tried that. I tried. But all I could do is think of you the whole time. And I know like there was a part of you that was worried, like, oh my gosh, she might meet someone.
Well, you had said to come with you to do this trip, not to the
I'm like, just come
not to the
me.
lesbian festival, because you knew I wouldn't do that. But you're like, just come meet me after.
Meet me in
Italy. I told my mom that you're coming to Italy, like that kind of thing. And I was
So
like,
I got
no.
her to come. I was
like,
I told my mom you're going to meet me in Italy.
I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not. Because I knew that you needed to do this, and I didn't want to be. And I knew our connection from New Orleans, what happened there. So even though we had gone back to this place again, I was like, well, maybe you're at risk. You're still at risk. I remember saying that, like, you're at risk for meeting someone, just like someone toxic again, and falling into that cycle again, because you still thought that was like hot energy.
Oh God.
That you like. So I was like, I know, because you're like, at this point, I think that like you're the one for me, all that, but I should go to this thing. I'm going to do this. And I just knew you were still at risk for falling for someone, like just for either like looks or their energy or anything. Yeah, totally. So
there was no one there about like,
so I was
remotely
like, no.
caught my eye. Like I had you in my heart. Like your soul is already in there. So
yeah. And so I flew to Ibiza and was there the last 2 days of your festival trip just by myself. Yeah. And just seeing,
you could work from anywhere too. So
just seeing what happened with you, was leaving it open to like, if you meet someone, just tell me and I'll go home. I don't think either of us had a return ticket home. No. Yeah.
I was like, I'm spending the summer here. Are you coming with me?
Yeah. I just booked the Spain ticket, just seeing what happened. It was just like, okay, I could, like I told my friends, I'm like, I could be home in 5 weeks or 5 days. And I just don't know where this is going to go.
Where'd it go?
So then the whole time you were at the festival, you were really affirmative and just like, I can only think about you.
Yeah.
And there's nobody here and I just want to be with you and all that stuff. But
on the last day you sent flowers to my room.
Yeah. I sent flowers to your room. That's our favorite lyric from our song.
Yes. It was so sweet. I'm going to have it engraved in your wedding band one day. Yeah.
Right. That's perfect. And then, had you brought over to the hotel that I had booked.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, you were already sick though, remember?
So I caught a stomach bug on the last day of being at the last festival.
Evening, like the literal evening before.
Yeah, I went out to dinner with my friends and I was so cold and I was so grumpy and I couldn't understand, like, why am I so grumpy and cold? Like, I just was irritable and like tired. Like, I need to go back to the room. I feel so bad. And then the next morning I woke up and I was so pumped up to see you that I just kind of put it behind me. And I was like, why do I feel hungover? But like, I don't drink to get hungover. Like, that's not my vibe. I had 2 glasses of sangria all day yesterday. Like, what was this? I would never do that, like, the day before going to meet you.
No.
So I see you, like, I walk into the hotel lobby and it's like, oh my God, this is real. And then we hug and then I'm like, let's just go sit in the room. And we're sitting and you had like drinks and I took one sip and I was like, I have to lay down.
Yeah, right away you were like, I need to lay down. No, you're like, would you mind if we just lay down and like cuddle?
You were like, is this your body rejecting this again? And I'm like, no. I feel sick. I don't know what it is. And then like I felt like really bad because the day before in my Instagram story, I was on a boat, like on this party. So like it's going to look like I drank. Like it's going to look like I was irresponsible. I know, but I didn't want you to think that like I just, I don't know. I think that'd be so horrible for someone to fly across the world to meet
Yeah.
you. And then
you're
you'd be
hungover
like,
or something
yeah,
the next
like, because
day.
you didn't
Yeah.
respect that time. So anyway, I was like, no, this is so bad. Let's just say I shit the bed.
Yeah.
I shit the bed. I vomit. No, there was no vomit,
The
actually.
next few
It was
days,
just,
there
it was
was no
just
vomit,
shit.
just shit.
Constant.
Lots of
every
shit.
5 minutes. The most beautiful
Lots
bathroom
of shit.
ever. White marble, just poop splatters everywhere.
I felt so bad for you.
I was embarrassed. I felt
No.
so bad.
The next 2 or 3 days was, just that.
You took
literally,
me to the emergency
like,
room.
literally the only outings I had were like going to find like things for
Rice,
you
plain
or like
rice.
plain rice, finding drinks that you could keep down,
Probiotic
doing anything,
drinks.
probiotic drinks. And then I think like night 2 or night 3, maybe I was like, if you don't, she wasn't eating, you're like drinking hardly anything either.
It was
like,
I was very sick.
if this doesn't get better by tonight, we've got to go to the hospital. And you agreed like right away.
Yeah.
And we were looking for infusions, and remember, I spent like 3 hours looking for vitamin infusions. I couldn't get anybody there.
Ridiculous. But it was so crazy because you were so willing to go on these long walks to find like certain food for me.
For
and
sure.
to find
so
vitamins
sick.
and
Yeah.
it was so sweet. And there was obviously like during that time, I wouldn't say there was a spark. It was like, oh my God, this woman's keeping me alive. Like how kind of her on her vacation time. And like, I felt horrible about it. But then we got in the like taxi to go to the emergency room. And that was the first time I knew like I actually was like, okay, I'm attracted to her. I need to like make sure I don't look like an idiot. Like, hold yourself up. Don't shit yourself in the taxi. Like those sort of things.
Oh my God.
And I was in the front seat because I got car sick easy with Elvis. And I like reached my hand backwards to hold your leg. And I was like, okay, that really hurts, but I want to hold her leg.
Yeah. It was cute. Yeah, we were kind of inseparable.
Yep. Ever since that moment.
Yeah.
The end.
And
Then it was a beautiful trip to Italy. And yeah, we'll go through the rest of it another time.
yeah, that's a long, long, long story.
But at the end of the day, after that trip, I knew.
Me too.
When you know, you know.
Aw,
But you don't know until you know.
that's right.
And it could be really confusing.
Yeah.
But then you know, and it's like, oh my God. And like, if you get anything out of this, if at first you meet someone and there isn't like a spark, but they're healthy for you, like give it time.
A lot of time.
It can grow. And then also, what was the other thing? Oh, your soulmate won't treat you like that. Like,
Right.
your soulmate will treat you like this one treated me. Like, holy moly. Just so nurturing.
Yeah.
So kind. My voice is hoarse.
Too much talking.
I love you.
I love you.
You're so good to me. Every day. That's the craziest thing. I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, another day of someone being good to me? Of this lady being good to me? What? Now you're shy.
Yeah, you deserve that.
I love you.
I love you.
Okay, guys, that's all for now. I'm sure we'll do this again. If you want another episode of our bedtime chats, let me know. Shoot me a DM if you enjoyed it, and there'll be more. Ta-ta. As queer women, that's women with an X, because of course we are inclusive here. As I was saying, as queer women, we haven't always been lifted up or celebrated. We have often felt left out and put down in places that historically haven't welcomed us. In fact, we have been conditioned by society to be grateful for mere tolerance. My resilient LGBTQ+ IA community, I am talking to you. I'll bet you've recognized the spark that God put in your heart, your unique calling to impact the world in only a way that you can. a business idea, a brand to build, a coaching program to start, the art to create, the song to sing, the book to write, that relationship you long to build. But that little light inside your soul has often been blown out by the people around you, leaving you conditioned to play small and not step into your full potential. You are not alone, and it's never too late to truly live your most authentic dream life. I would know. I came out late in life, nearly 30, a couple years ago, after being bullied for months inside a country club. Right outside of my weights class, I was assaulted by a bigoted woman who couldn't stand my queerness. She physically pushed me, so I had a meeting with management. I told them I didn't feel safe. I brought forth evidence, and guess what? They did nothing. Sadly, this is normal. But in order to create change, we have to be brave enough to be the change ourselves. So I did a thing. I started my own virtual country club for queer women, a safe place for us to create meaningful connections and grow. So if you're looking for a love connection, networking opportunities, or coaching to live your best freedom life, you want to apply to be a part of our incredible community of purpose-driven, passionate queer women. Join Queer Women Rising, the online queer country club for growth-minded women ready to level up in life and love. To apply, DM me the word rising on Instagram at Sophia Spallino, or chat me the word rising on sophiaspallino.com. Now, beyond hosting Queer Women Rising, I am a personal brand coach and social media strategist. If you give me a moment to tell you about what I do, I can share how I can help you, just like I've helped many clients before get famous online and make more money. If you're an exhausted coach or service provider, ready to scale your business for real, or you're just getting started building your dream brand from scratch, and if you're ready to build your own profitable personal brand, I can show you how in 6 months or less. But why should you take my word for it? Well, I've spent over 10 years in the social media marketing industry, amassing over 400,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as hosting a top charting podcast, building a successful service provider business, and coaching powerful women to build purpose-driven, profitable personal brands. Yeah, I have the social media and sales process strategies that can help you finally make the money you deserve. Because I want to help you build your dream business that gives you time, freedom, and makes real money. So for a limited time, I'm giving away your first steps to go from less than 5K months and advance to 10 to 20K months. Grab my newly revamped Profitable Personal Brand Blueprint, my proven framework to build yourself a personal brand that motivates, inspires, and sells so that your business can thrive the way it should. Just go to the link in the show notes. Whether you're a novice at creating or you're feeling stuck, hitting a plateau in your business that once had consistent revenue, and need guidance, support, and coaching to get to your next level, I invite you to book a strategy call to speak with either me or my team to see if we'd be the right fit to work with each other inside of the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Mind you, I am extremely selective, and this coaching program is not for everyone, and I'm not afraid to say it. I am only taking on serious, purpose-driven, and committed queer women and allies inside of my community. If that's you, book your free strategy call. The link is in the show notes. And if you feel yourself come alive and love listening to Queer Women Rising, please leave me a 5-star rating with a kind review wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to share the show with a powerful woman you know. And remember, when you're called to do something greater in life, love, or business, you will be uncomfortable until you move. So get up and go get what you want. Let's rise. Let's rise.